Hello, and welcome to the PaynePoints of Interest Podcast. We want to tell the stories of people, their businesses, and the journey that they are on. Our purpose here at PaynePoints is to gather a new perspective on starting, growing, maturing, and maintaining businesses of all sizes. So grab that cup of coffee and sit back and join us in this discussion. Hey guys, it's Sarah Harbuck, your host, and with me today is the lovely Kristin Ellis.
Hey.
And our special guest is Sarah Nichols. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
Hey, so she is here with Luz Handwoven, and she's going to tell us all about how that got going. Tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe how you got into this, kind of what led up to you starting this business.
Well, so let me start from scratch.
That's a good place to start.
Yes. I was born in Dominican Republic, so I'm half Dominican and half Puerto Rican with Lebanese roots. I have 5 children.
Awesome.
Ages 21 to 7.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Okay, for those of you who are listening but can't see, she does not look like she
I
could
would
possibly
guess
have
that
a
she's
21-year-old.
probably 27 years old.
Yeah.
I love
which
you
means
guys.
she had
I thought you were way younger
It's
than
CrossFit.
me. Oh, there you go.
there you
There you go.
I swear it is. So Ashley's 21. She goes to Palm Beach State in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Nice.
And then, I have a Jordan, and he's going to go to 9th grade next year, and he's 14. And then I have Savannah and Samantha and Jonathan and all of that. My goon squad is what I call them.
Nice. I like that.
That's
Squad,
awesome.
Goon Squad.
So I started Babywearing back when Ashley was little. And then that progressed into like full blown Babywearing. I just love having my kids close to me. It was just easy. And the more kids I had, that,
It was
we
kind of
need
if
necessary.
you need both hands, it's necessary. Yeah.
my hands were, so they needed to be free to
Yeah.
be doing stuff. I had one kid on the back. I had one kid at the front.
Oh my goodness.
One next to you probably.
I really honestly believe Babywearing like saved my life at that time in my life.
I
It
don't
really
doubt
did.
it. Yeah.
It was amazing. It still is. But so with my third child, I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to try this baby wrap stuff. And because I just had a ring sling, which is like a rebozo, which is old Mayan culture, old school
Right.
I had
African
one of
Mayan
those,
culture.
That's
Which
the
is
one that goes like over one shoulder and you like.
Yes.
Yeah.
and you tie a slip knot, and then you carry your baby on their back or your front or your side.
Yep, I did that.
And I had it's just a 2 meter or 2.5 yard piece of fabric. So my mom bought me that, and I was like, okay, well, let me try something different. And a couple of my friends were like, well, why don't you try an Ergo Baby or a soft structured carrier to just start off? So that's where it started in Florida, Treasure Coast Babywearing. And I fell in love with Babywearing. I was like, this is so easy.
So much better than,
This is so much more comfortable. It came natural to me.
Oh, good.
So the love affair with Babywearing just started from there. And then after I had Savannah, I was like, well, I'll try these other things. And I ended up trying a hand-woven wrap. It was like a world of a difference between a machine-woven wrap,
Right.
like something that wasn't handmade. It was made by a manufacturer.
Right.
And something that was made by hand. I was like, wow, this stuff is amazing on the shoulders.
Is
the
that
cush,
because of the extra give that it has?
the give, the cush?
It's the fabrics are probably
Handcrafted
better
items
too.
are just usually
It's just
better.
always better. That's true. You're right.
I mean,
yeah.
100%. So I was like, oh my goodness. But the price range at that time in the baby-wearing community, you're talking about upwards in the thousands.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I was like, that's not happening. I can't.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So I told my husband, I said, you know what? I'm going to start weaving. I'm going to buy a loom.
Had you ever done it before?
Never.
So you just I'm gonna do it.
I'm just going to do it.
Did you get on YouTube and watch videos, or did you go to classes?
Nope. I bought a book
You did it old school.
I was gonna say, how long ago was this? YouTube started in what, 2003?
Oh, that's true.
2005?
I see her looks are deceptive.
Yeah.
I keep thinking she's 25 years old.
right?
I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, I love you guys. But no, I there wasn't like many YouTube videos at that
Right.
time,
Okay.
so no,
So
not
we're
really.
talking like way back when.
Well, we're talking about. I
Make
started.
us all feel old.
I started weaving like 8 years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
yeah.
Well, you know, to
wasn't
be
that bad.
fair,
Yeah.
the YouTube has only really taken off since then.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
And not a lot of weavers post stuff on
Right.
YouTube either. This was before even Babywearing Facebook communities, like groups and stuff with
Right.
weaving
Yeah, yeah.
community and
Thing.
Facebook
Right.
and all of that even evolved. So I bought this book called Learning How to Weave, and I decided to just go with it.
Just
it
try it
came
out.
so natural to me.
that's awesome.
It was insane. I still scratch my head and wonder, how did this even happen? Like, what?
I had to have somebody sit down and show me how to crochet, and then I would watch videos on YouTube of a step-by-step, very slow doing it before I finally caught on, because my grandmother tried to teach me how to knit when I was little, and I was like, no, I don't, that looks way too complicated. So the fact that this was just like your hands were
Very
made to do
natural
it.
to you.
I'm a firm believer that I really think that I was made to do this.
Yeah.
I really
Awesome.
think that, because I mean, honestly, it's not rocket science. The weaving is not. Anyone can figure it out. But it just came so like 100% natural to me. So my husband drove me to Virginia, and we were living in Greenville, South Carolina at the time. So he drove all the way over there to get a loom to something I didn't even know I was gonna like. And
So in Texas terms, because we say everything by distance. So from
Right.
where you lived to this, how many hours of a drive was
How
that
long?
for you guys?
if I remember correctly, I want to say it was like an 8-hour drive,
wow.
9-hour drive. Oh, he's
Oh,
driven.
That's commitment. That's a good
yeah.
husband. He's supportive.
He's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He really is. Last year, he drove all the way from here to Florida to get me a loom.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
He's pretty
Oh
awesome.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a keeper.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a
Kudos.
Well,
Yes.
16 years, he better be a keeper. He ain't go nowhere now.
right. It's locked in. Locked in here.
So we went to Virginia. We got the loom. I started weaving for friends, and my friends were like, "Sarah, you gotta create a business.
Yeah.
Like, businesses aren't that many in the baby wearing community, and there's only like a handful of weavers, and this is the time you need to just jump on it." And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna weave for you guys and weave for myself, because that's the whole point. That's all I
It's fun.
wanted.
Yeah.
It's
you just,
fun."
Yeah.
So it started as a hobby and turned into a business. And
That's very cool.
almost 7 years later, here I am.
Yeah.
So how long from when you started weaving till you decided to
really market
jump
it.
into the business world of it?
About a year.
Okay.
It took me about a year and a lot of convincing, because I didn't want it to be a business.
Yeah.
I was just like, I just wanted to be able to enjoy it and not have the stress, because when you have a
Yeah.
business, then you have customer base. Now you have a different kind of stress.
And you have demands, and you
And-
have
yeah.
overhead,
Yep.
and you have taxes, and you have it just makes it
Takes the fun out of it
much more
sometimes.
complicated, right?
It
Understood.
did.
Yeah.
It really did. It did take the fun out of it for a little while.
Yeah.
Until, you have to hone yourself back into why you even started this in the first place, and you have to learn to create your own balance with any business.
Right.
So there was a learning curve there with
Yeah.
with the business and having to manage that, and then I had 3 kids at the house all the time. Yes.
So you're being super mom and super business
Uh-huh.
lady and all
Yeah.
the things all at the same
Doer
time.
of all the things.
Yes. Doer of all the things. Yes. It's a hat we wear as women, typically
Yeah.
who own businesses or run businesses.
Yeah.
You got to put on all the different hats.
Yes.
When you were getting started to create your business, you're like, okay, it's been a year and I've had all these people asking me to do this. What was like the first step you took to get that going? Was it creating a website? Was it going down to the courthouse and getting your name established? And tell us the origins of why you named your business Luz Handwoven.
Well, I sat there and I thought, and I was like, well, what am I going to call my business? What inspired me to start weaving? What got me here? And the number one memory that always still comes back to me is my grandma. My mom was a working mother.
Right.
So I was raised by my grandmother when my mom wasn't home, because she lived with us.
Yeah.
She had a lot of health difficulties and stuff, but she was always crafting stuff and always using her hands and sewing. And then I had another grandma that did the same. So that I grew up with that. I grew up with craftiness and creating things all around
So it's
me.
in your blood.
So it really was. I say it runs in my blood and my veins through and through.
Sure.
And then I was just like, you know what? I'm going to call it Luz.
Oh, Loose. My bad. I'm so
okay.
sorry.
It's okay.
I should
It's
have asked
good.
you before
No.
we started. I just
okay.
assumed.
It's totally okay. I could be Luz like the footwear.
Well, that's I think probably where that came from. But Loose. Is it after one of your grandmothers?
Yes.
Okay.
Her name was Luz Celeste.
Okay.
And I called my company after her because really she was the first model that I had that
Sort of
inspired me.
That's awesome.
That's very cool.
Inspired me to be a better person, to try new things without fear, to do all the things. So that's why I called it Luz.
Okay.
And then the very first step was really just the Facebook page. That was my very first thing.
Okay.
I just created a Facebook page, and I was like, well, let me see where this is going to go.
See if
first.
there's a demand,
Before you
if
start
there's an interest in this. Yeah.
So you didn't sink a lot of money in right away necessarily. I mean, obviously you bought the loom.
Yeah.
Right.
That was probably an investment. But, a lot of people will do all this planning and then they'll invest a lot of money and then they'll go from there. Whereas some people have, like you said, you kind of start off a little organically and you see where the demand is going to go. And I don't think there's a right way or wrong way. I think you have to do whatever is for your personality type.
Right.
I'm not a very risk-taking kind of person. So I'm more like, let's just kind of put some feelers out there. And
Right.
see how
Well,
this is
and for
gonna
your
happen.
lifestyle with 3 kids at home, I can imagine you didn't just have a whole lot of time to
Or a lot
just
of extra
jump in
fund.
and we're gonna do
funds.
we're gonna jump in wholeheartedly and do this and pump
did
out this
not.
many a week and
Yeah. I did
so
not.
You kind of wanted to
I just, we started a little grassroots,
send
little,
out some feelers, see how it's
Yeah.
gonna maybe go. Yeah,
and it exploded, you guys. Like, it took off.
that's amazing.
And I was just like, okay, well, now we have to actually create an actual business
to do this.
and a business model.
Did you join a bunch of groups and then kind of promote yourself within these mom groups, or how did it explode? Just word of mouth?
Well, I was already in a ton of mom groups because I was already part of the community.
Right.
So
okay.
I already had that
Sort of,
leverage.
so the networking kind of
I
already.
Right.
I already knew the community.
Yeah.
And then after I knew the community, I decided to just say, hey, by the way, or my friends were like, hey, by the way, Sarah's creating this, Sarah's doing this, look what Sarah's doing. So it was really, it still is 100% word of mouth.
Okay.
That's great.
Very
so you don't
cool.
do any advertising really? No
Nope.
Facebook ads, no Instagram promoting?
Occasionally.
Like if you're running a
very,
sale or something?
Very occasionally. But for the most part, it's 100% word of mouth.
Moms have power.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Producer speaking. Can I unwrap this?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
So Sarah brought a couple
Yes.
of her, one of her wraps and
it's
some of the
beautiful.
product that she uses to create it. And right now in studio, we're taking a look at it. And guys, I got to say, if you were in the market for a baby wrap, this is beautiful.
It is. It's gorgeous.
And you should take a look at their website. It is loosehandwoven.com. I visited it the other day and I was like, it's too bad I don't have a baby.
Well, we create fabrics.
And scarves and different things like that. So you don't just have to have a baby.
So you've expanded from just from the
Absolutely.
and how did that go? How did that happen?
So I expanded because my clients wanted more than just baby wraps.
Right.
You have a lot of people phasing out of the baby wraps and
That's
into,
Kids grow up.
kids
Yeah.
grow up, you know, and they're like, oh man, we really would love something hand woven to put around our neck or a shawl
Right.
or like a purse and stuff. And it just went from there. So I partnered with several other companies and we make scarves. Well, I make the scarves. I make hand cowls.
Okay.
And they're really pretty.
Yeah.
Thanks. And then I have several seamstresses that I work with, and we have kangaroos that we make, and we make little dolls, and I mean, all kinds of fun, creative stuff. And then we
That's
have little
awesome.
tumblers now, and little merch,
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
merch.
right.
I love it
Yeah.
when
Your
businesses
shirt,
start out
yeah.
with just one product and they expand and explode into all these different things because it just shows you that, just taking one thing and really believing in it and having that passion and people seeing that and be like, oh, I want
Right.
more from you.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
you put so much love and care into these
Well,
products.
it's proof of your quality too.
Yeah.
You know, it's a when you're running a business and you get people requesting, you know, I don't really need a baby wrap anymore, but I really love your products. Could you make me a scarf? I mean, you know, like that's
it's
really
so
cool.
humbling.
Yeah,
It
that's
really is.
Well, it's like you've created a family online with these customers.
Absolutely.
in a way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I call them my little Luzies. And they are my family. Like, seriously, like, we talk about everything. I have a chatter group as well. And there's a link in the bio in the Facebook page that you can join. And we talk about mom stuff, you know, all kinds of stuff. And it's a great little community. It really is.
That's awesome.
Like family.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
You know, obviously, I would imagine, but you can tell me different. You know, when you're the mother of 5 children and you're running a business, there's that in and of itself can be an obstacle and a struggle. Was there anything else that you saw that, in just logistical purposes of running a business, was there something else other than juggling the mom hat and the wife hat and the business hat? Because you're, I think, one of the first people on that we've had that's had this many children,
right? Yeah,
running a business. So
it's a feat, man.
It
really
is
is.
challenging. Some days I did not. Okay, so weaving is my zen zone. It's my zone out.
Yes,
The whole world does not exist.
what you do for you.
It's what I actually did for myself. So I it was the reverse. Okay, so I'm a workaholic.
oh,
I'm the opposite. You know, of what
Okay.
you would think that, you know, oh, a lot of people. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Okay, some people. They're the opposite. They don't want to work, and because you're at home and you have other things and you have kids and you have homework and you have to cook.
Kids is work.
Raising kids, it's work, and then you have
Yeah.
this extra stuff that now you have to do in the business, and some people put that off, and it is a put off.
Yeah.
But I was the complete opposite of that.
you would do the work.
I'd much rather do the work than sometimes, you know, pay attention to my house.
Yeah,
I understand. And
been there, done that.
I'm just talking real. This is real talk.
sure.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely. I've said it before on the podcast. There's, you know, my kids are taken care of. And then either my house is run efficiently or my business is run efficiently. Like
You can't sometimes choose.
I can't do all
You
three.
can't do
I
both.
haven't figured that out yet. I can do 2 of the, you know.
You can't. It's
So, yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
That's
Listen.
witchcraft if you can. Like, there's some kind of weird, like,
You
superpower.
have help if you can do all 3.
You can
have a
pay somebody to
nanny.
come help you.
You have a nanny, or you pay somebody to come and clean
Yep.
your house for you, or
Well,
cook,
you know,
or clean.
I homeschooled my kids and ran a
Yeah.
business and
God
all these things. And
bless
people
you.
were like, oh my gosh, how could you do all that stuff? And I was like, blah, da, 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 da. I never
Yeah.
did any of it or all of it very well at the same time. Let's be clear.
Yes. So I mean, that's exactly what I did, and you know, sometimes I regret it because I'm like, well, you know, I could have paid a little bit more attention to my house and things that were happening there. But you know, I do, but I don't, because I've poured so many years, so much blood, sweat, tears into my business to grow it to where it is
love
now.
into your business, sounds like.
It's like a sixth child in a way.
Yeah.
It's become me. It
Yeah.
is me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, I absolutely adore what I do. Every day I wake up and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I have a studio. Like, I can't believe
That's
I
so
do
cool.
this for a
Yeah.
living. Like, how blessed am I, you know,
Yeah.
that I actually enjoy what I do every day. Not that I didn't before, but this is my, like, life calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
amazing.
That's
I
very
love hearing
cool.
that with
Yeah.
people.
That's
ahead.
also something that's important for, you know, we're turning this from a business podcast into a mom podcast, but it's important a lot of times for moms to find something
Absolutely.
that they can have for themselves, because
Yes.
you get so wrapped up in
being a
the
mother.
kids in the house and being the mom, and that's how you define yourself. And then your kids
Absolutely.
grow up and move out, and it's like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so it's important to it's part of finding that balance, you
Yes,
know, to have
absolutely.
something for yourself. And you just so happen to be a very industrious lady and turned it into a successful business. So that's
I think it's always a
incredible.
plus
That's great
when you
for
can
you.
do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely.
And you obviously have such a passion for it. I can see it in your face.
Yeah.
And in the products you make. That's amazing. What would you say, is there an aspect of your business that's taught you something about yourself? about
yeah.
the way you run a business, or all of those things about, like,
This business has taught me everything.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from myself, just trying to create a schedule, trying to create a routine, trying to balance things, I'm a marketer, I'm an accountant, I'm like the information technology person. I am all of those things. Up until maybe January of this year, I had zero help doing any of this.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
It was just me. Other than, I would hire or subcontract someone to do, occasionally do warps for me that are hand dyed. Or like, help me measure a piece of yarn, or be a seamstress for me. Things like that.
Right.
But for the most part,
you did every arm of the business.
It is me.
Yeah.
But in January, and the thing that this is all come down to, and I've learned so much, is sometimes we have to let go of things and allow other people to help. Because it's not an easy thing to let go of your baby.
Yeah.
It's my baby, and it's been my baby. This will always be my baby, and I just have such high standards, and it's so hard to just be like, oh, here, you can have this job, and I won't have to. I can't. So I believe that God puts people in the right spot in your life that just they're just a blessing. And and through serendipity, these two ladies decided, hey, can we help you? We love your products. They're customers of mine.
Yeah.
Can we see that you're struggling a little bit with, the marketing side.
Keeping up with everything.
Everything. Can we help you? And I'm like, okay. Prayed a little bit about it. And I was like, all right, let me try this out. I gotta let go. I have to, if I want my business to continue, I have to let go.
Yeah.
Because with every business, you have those ups and downs, where you have a lot of customer base, and then you have no customer base, and a lot of customer base, and then no. So I was at that point where I was like, well, I might have to close, because I had almost no customer base. I wasn't reaching. You can only reach so far. You can only be on Facebook so much, or Instagram so much.
Right.
And you can only post so much.
While you're still being an accountant and a maker and a mom and a this and a that. I mean, yeah. There's only so much time in a day.
There's only so much time.
Well, I mean, that's a common theme with everybody we've had in that chair, is that you get to a point where you're so overwhelmed with every single aspect that you're not doing any of them very well, and things are falling through the cracks, and you're better off spending that a little bit of extra money hiring on some staff to help even the load.
Right.
It's not just this pedestal holding everything up. Now you have a 3 or 4-sided table of legs.
It's much more stable.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Much more stable. Yeah. So it's been a blessing to have Katie and Regina, because they do almost all of my marketing. Katie, I call her my Google master. She loves Google Forms. She keeps me organized.
That's great.
And she keeps me in check with my stuff. Because, I have a calendar. I've always had a calendar. That's always going to be my Bible of what I do every single day is written in that thing. So, but she's like, oh, Google Form. And then Regina creates posts where there's engagement, and there's constant, hey, we're together in this, and then community based.
Yeah.
And so it's really been a real blessing. And since then, thank God, it's been back to normal, back to skyrocketing, with interest and customer base. And really, so that if there's one thing I've learned in this business is to let go. Sometimes you cannot do all the things.
Yeah. Like Sarah said, that's something that just about everybody we've interviewed has said. It comes a point you just have to. You just have to. You're good on.
You have to. It is for some people it's a very panic-inducing. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to hire employees.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to make sure they get paid. And there's that panic that people have, not thinking that they can do that, that risk of hiring somebody. But the thing is that every single experience I've ever watched where people have done that, their business has grown.
Absolutely.
And it's covered the cost and then some.
Yeah.
And it only benefits you really in the long run, unless you just hire like the worst people ever, which it sounds like these people serendipitously came into your life that were perfect fit for you, and that's great. So many times people won't take that risk, and I myself, was faced with that position, of whether or not to hire on a whole lot more people to help me run my business, or to just, and I had gotten to a point where I was so burnt out that I didn't even think even hiring people was going to help me, because I was just like, I didn't have the passion for it anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to go do something else for a while. Maybe I'll come back to that. And so I made that mistake. And so now anytime I talk to people, I don't do the same thing I did, because I couldn't really relinquish the control, for so long. Yeah. And then when I got to the point where it was absolutely necessary I do that, I didn't have the energy anymore to do any of it.
Like, I'm tired of this. I gotta do something else.
I gotta do something else for a while, or take a break, like.
Oh, and there have been times where I'm like, you know what, I need a break.
Yeah.
I need to take a week or two off and just like zone out and pretend that this doesn't exist. Yep. And I don't want to go in here, because I would be lying to you if I told you I didn't have moments like that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Everybody does. Yeah.
And another cool thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that, so Baby Tula, which is a huge company, you actually see their Tulas are in Target and all over worldwide. Came to me and like, well, we love your fabric, so you want to come weave for us?
Wow.
I know.
That's
Isn't
awesome.
that amazing?
That
so
is.
2 years ago, this is actually going to Baby Tula. This is a Baby Tula exclusive. This,
Okay.
Very cool.
It's this warp right here is called On the 6. So a lot of my warps are based either on culture, my personal culture, or other people's culture, or like a lot of moms name their warps off of their children or an experience that they've had. So it's very personal.
Yeah.
It's really an heirloom product that they can keep, and it's a keepsake.
Yeah.
Which I think it's pretty awesome.
That is beautiful. It's like a christening dress.
Cool.
You got christened in this dress, so mom passes it on, and then your grandchildren, and then your great grandchildren.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to see some pictures of this, follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Because we'll have some posts of this beautiful fabric
definitely
on there. Yeah.
So every piece of fabric actually has a story.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Well, and I think that's, I feel like, we went through that age of mass consumerism where, you just went and bought a mass-produced product. And I think we're actually kind of evolving away from that in a lot of ways, because people want to get more back in touch with the story behind something, or the personal connection, or something that's had, real person's hands touch it and make it.
Right.
And it just seems so much more worth it than,
we're getting back into that, like my mother-in-law has a blender or something that she's had for like 40 years, and it still works perfect. Like, it's great, still works great. I have my mom's old sewing machine that's 30 something years old, and it's all metal parts, and it's like, it weighs 200 pounds, but like, it still works fantastically. I mean, we're getting back to the point where I don't want to have to replace it every 6 months because it breaks. I want something that's going to last, and I will pay more for
because you'll spend less money over the long haul, spending a little more money up front for something that's handcrafted versus
quality
something
product
mass produced in some factory in some other country where they're not paying those people a living wage.
Exactly.
That's a whole other podcast for a different day. But I feel like that's an important thing, especially with a lot of people who have their own home business where they make a product like that. You need the support from the community.
Absolutely.
Because it's just so easy to jump on Amazon or Walmart and buy something, boom, and you're done. But you don't really get a lot of value out of something like that either.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
What about the little people, the little small
businesses?
Yeah, support small businesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So based on what you've been saying, it sounds like maybe, your the most helpful tool for running your business was hiring these 2 extra people. Is that something you would agree with?
I would definitely
Is there
agree with that.
any platform that you think serves your business better, or is it just still word of mouth is the best way for you to get your name out there?
I've thought about opening a brick and mortar shop.
Yeah.
But I'm still fighting myself with that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of extra expenses that come with that.
A lot of extra risk. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So, but I still think word of mouth, hands down. is how most businesses succeed, because if like you get your hair done and your hairdresser is amazing, you're going to go and tell your friends about that.
Or they're going to be like, ooh, your hair looks amazing. Where'd you get it done?
Or people will ask. So I feel like baby wraps or whatever product you put out is the same thing. Oh, who made that tumbler for you? Oh, wow, that's beautiful. Where'd you get it from?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I got it from so-and-so. And well, there you go. And then the next person, and then, wow, well, what about this and that? And then it just spreads, it's like wildfire.
Yeah.
People talk.
Yeah.
So.
Traditional forms of advertising are not really as big a deal anymore like they used to be. Radio, television, print, a lot of everything's moved online, but there's still, I think the number one is having a good quality product,
right,
and having a good business strategy, or just being a good business person in that you provide excellent customer service,
right,
and therefore the word of mouth is still going to be your absolute number one asset in having a successful business. I feel like
absolutely.
I mean, we still do Instagram and Facebook
sure.
and all those social media outlets. But, I mean, my number one word of mouth has actually been through Facebook.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Facebook groups is really, like, we all talk and chat, and we're all our own little community. So through there is really, so yes, technically it's been word of mouth through social media.
Well, but I mean, that's how we communicate with each other these days.
That's
So, I feel like that's acceptable in terms of word of mouth. I want a recommendation for somebody for something. I go on, but hey guys, if you're in the Lufkin area, who have you used for this service?
Right.
Tell me who you like. Things like that. Because, I guess I could get on my phone and call people, but I'm going to get a much wider answer on Facebook.
And you're going to get, you get on your phone and Google it, you're going to get what that company wants
paid
you
for.
For you to see versus a firsthand, these people were really nice and they were professional and it was a good quality service, and you want trusted advice.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Well, what would you say is maybe like your biggest achievement, having had been on this journey for 7-8 years?
Honestly, I think working for Baby Tula has been a dream come true.
That's a nice little notch of achievement, definitely.
It's a big thing.
Yes, that was a huge thing, because Baby Tula is like this major company, which, it's like, whoa, you weave for who? I mean, they're in Target, you guys.
It's like Fisher Price.
Next thing, you're going to be at Target, Oh my gosh.
That's really
incredible.
cool to go to Target and see something that you made.
Right. They're not there yet, because these are hand-woven items that are only sold online due to the price point.
Right.
So, but still, there's a company that, is known worldwide.
Yeah.
And that's something that's definitely been the number one achievement.
What did you think when you got that phone call or email or however
The email? Oh my gosh. I was like, no way.
Did you believe it? Yeah, I would have been like,
no way.
This has got to be a scam of some sort. Yeah.
I think I cried for like a week. It was amazing.
That's so
cool.
great.
Yes. And then the very first warp I did, it was actually named Milagros after my mom, which means miracle. And it was twofold, because, it was a tribute to my mother as well as a tribute to the miracle of this all happening and how it's happened. And just
great.
Amazing.
I love that.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What would you say is the best part of your job?
The fact that I work from home.
Yeah.
And I can still manage to be with my children.
Yeah.
So it's been the number one blessing of this whole thing, is to be able to just be at home with my kids.
That's great.
Yeah.
What would you say is your least favorite part of the job?
I can't stop working. I'm a
Takes
workaholic.
over a little bit.
It really does. It takes over.
You got to set some boundaries with yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
I have an alarm on my phone that tells me to stop.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's that
Time
bad.
to take a break.
So
just curiosity, how long does it take to make something like this? Which I'm
that's a
referring
good question.
to
That's a good question.
referring to the
baby
wrap that she brought in studio, that is, I would say, what, like 3 feet wide by about 6 or 7 feet long?
give or take, yes.
Okay.
About that.
How long does that take?
So the process from actually have another piece of yarn on top of the table.
Yeah, I see that. It's
this is hand dyed
really
silk.
cool. Okay. Well, there you go then.
It's really soft.
It's beautiful. The
thank
colors.
So the long piece of fabric is
really
not
pretty.
hand dyed. I wanted to show you guys the comparison of difference.
Yeah.
So I work with non-hand dyed yarn and hand dyed yarn that I hand dye. And the non-hand dyed yarn is a little bit faster because it's already dyed. So I just measure it and put it on the loom.
Right.
The measuring and putting on the loom is depending on the design because each individual wrap is a different design. Some people have mock-ups where they mock it up through a computer system.
Okay.
And they can follow that, their design process. I do it all by hand in my memory. I know.
Oh, wow.
I cannot follow a mock-up. It would drive me nuts.
Okay. Yeah.
I just can't.
Well, you're a true creative then, because, it's just kind of like whatever speaks to me that day, I'm going to just do that.
I see a picture and like, it just, I don't know. It just pops into my head and then I just have it and I lay it out. So that process takes about 2 to 3 days, typically 8-hour work days. So about 16 hours to put it on the loom. That is measuring the yarn, threading it, putting it through the loom, slaying the reed, tying it up.
Lots of
and
terms that I don't understand, but
we have to do like a YouTube video.
Yeah, you should. You absolutely should.
Of how everything works. Because there's so many little details.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by that show, How It's Made, when they show you how something gets done. And I love that. I don't even care what it is they're making. It's like, that's how they do that?
The process
That's incredible.
is fascinating. Yeah.
Now, whenever you have to replicate, is every single design completely unique, or do you ever try to replicate things?
So
is that tricky?
Yes, very, very. I get stressed out when I have to redo reweaves.
Yeah.
A lot of people request for things to get done again. Like, Baby Tula has a set of fabric, a set amount, and I have to sometimes, let's say they need 5 meters and I have 2 extra meters and I set it aside because a lot of people like scrap items like sock pads and new hoods and accessories for their Tulas. So sometimes they want more than just what I have left over. So I have created reweaves of the same thing. Well, they're never going to be the identical.
Yeah.
They're just never going to be the same. So each individual piece, even the reweave pieces, is unique.
Is unique.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know.
It really is a unique, one of a kind
Absolutely.
item. Yeah.
Nobody else is going to have anything quite like it.
No.
Once you get everything measured and all, because is this one piece of yarn?
Okay, so there's 760 pieces of yarn, technically.
Okay.
That one has over 1,000 because it's different. It's a different size yarn.
Okay.
So yes, individually, each and every strand of what you see there passed through my fingers. Wow. Yes.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
So this took how long to make after you got everything prepped and on the loom and the actual like, once you got to sit down?
Once I sit down weaving, I typically can weave not getting up off the loom or rarely getting up, only going to eat into the bathroom. It takes me about 8 hours to weave a 6.5 to 7 meter piece.
Right.
Which is about, I believe, 7.5, 8 yards.
Okay.
So it takes a little while.
Yeah, but the prep is the really
yes.
It's what really takes a long time.
Yes.
So if somebody custom ordered something on your website, about how long does it take for them to get the product they ordered?
So it depends on my wait list and how many people I have ahead of you. Let's say I have nobody ahead of you. It would take me, if I were on it, and sometimes I'm like in 1 week I can bang out a whole like 30 meter warp, which is like a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
And that's working 16 to 18 hours a day.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. I used to do that every single week for 4 years.
Oh.
Wow.
1 warp a week. I have over 100 warps that I've done. Yes. Over the years.
Yeah.
I think I'm up to 120 now that I've done total. But now I take my time. I don't work 16-hour days always.
Yeah.
I'm sure your family appreciates that.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. So I've learned to tone that down. So this one here, actually, I took my time because I have 2 looms. And while I'm working on one and I'm waiting on yarn for one, I can work on the other one. And I flip back and forth. So that one took longer than that. That piece took me 2 weeks to weave. But I slowed down to enjoy the process.
Right.
And so I have an AVL 40, size 40 width with 24 shafts. The amount of patterns, so the little hearts that you see here on the piece of fabric, they're a draft, they're a pattern.
Okay.
With the more shafts you have on a loom, the more patterns you can make. With 24 shafts, I can make any pattern you can possibly imagine. It's like the end all amazing loom. I love this thing. She's big Bertha.
Have you ever thought about bringing another weaver in to help to make that. It to so you could produce more,
or maybe even help with the prep to get you to the place where you can weave it, and you're not spending all that prep time as well?
I tried having an assistant, an apprentice, for a few months. That didn't really work out because I had to teach a lot, so I was focusing a lot on the teaching aspect. It was just taking too much.
You would need somebody that already kind of knew what they were doing.
Exactly, and someone locally that already knew. And there's only one guild around here, and that's all the way in Woodville.
Yeah,
so that seems like a very specific thing,
right?
Very very like niche type of thing that not a lot of people would do these days. Yeah.
And it's great that, I would love to have the time. At some point, I do want to do that, to train someone, to teach someone from the bottom up, which technically I am doing that with my children.
Right. I was about to say, you could possibly just integrate them into the business as you teach them, and because they're there every day, probably seeing you work, and
my oldest,
a natural pool to pull people from.
There you go.
You have no choice.
You have no choice. It's a family business now.
So my 21-year-old Ashley, she threaded looms. She learned the process. She was not interested in it too much, but she wanted to help.
Yeah.
And my 14-year-old, my son Jordan, he threads almost all of my looms. So
so you're integrating help.
Yeah. So I now this past year, I feel like this pandemic has really helped my family as far as trying to integrate them into what I do.
Yeah.
Because I still had to work.
Right.
Life still went on in my house.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were bored and I don't know what to do. And
let's put you to work.
I have something you can do. Yep.
As soon as you complain about being bored, I got a list of chores for you.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, Mom, we need this, we need that. I'd like to have this, I have that. And I was like, okay, well, I have a way for you to make money.
You want to earn some money? Yeah,
definitely. What advice would you have to give to anybody who is starting their own business or that might be struggling running a business? Is there, or something, advice you received when you were starting out that really helped you?
The best advice I could give is, enjoy what you do. Because if you're not enjoying it anymore, it's time to let go.
Yeah.
And to let go and let other people help.
So that you can continue to enjoy what you do.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
If you're not enjoying and you're not letting go, then you're miserable and you don't want to do the things and it feels like a chore. And once you start going into that path, it's like you either need to get out of it or you need to just let go, let other people help so you can enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's something that I personally can relate to.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, I've been there. Well, what does the future hold for you and your business and your family?
Well, I mean, I would love for my kids to be more involved. That would be such a blessing if I can get Savannah, my 9-year-old.
Yeah.
She loves the process. She really like constantly is like, Mom, I want to learn. But she's only 9, so I don't feel like that would be too appropriate.
You don't want to burn her out too early.
Or that. I told her, you can handle it. You could pass the shuttle a couple of times, and the shuttle is it's a wooden block that has yarn in it, and you pass it from one side to the other.
Through
goes. Yes.
I don't know what those are called.
It goes through the warp.
There you go. Thanks.
So the warp, when you're pushing down on a treadle, which is a pedal, it pushes the warp one side up and one side down to create a space, and then you push fabric through. I mean, you push yarn through to create the fabric.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're basically beating the fabric together. You're weaving it together.
Weaving it together, yes.
So, you know, she's very involved in it. And then I have Samantha that is now she's moving on from threading the loom to now next step is putting yarn on the loom for the warp, which I'm going to actually start, you know, trying to train her in the next couple of weeks.
Nice.
So from there, you know, little baby steps.
Yeah.
So that really, that's what I would like my future to be, for my kids to start helping me more and to be more involved in it. Maybe even take over the marketing side of it. I mean, I would love for my kids to take over.
Yeah.
And create a whole family dynasty here with this.
Yeah.
Who knows, in 30 years, this might be like a big thing, you know? I can just really take it.
Definitely.
Do you think you'll ever get to the point where you'll take that leap to open the brick and mortar?
I don't know. I fight with myself daily on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I look for places in downtown Lufkin, and I was like, no, and then yes, and then no, and then is there a need? I would love to open more of a natural parenting
okay. So
location.
Maybe expand a little bit. And,
exactly.
And include other products and other like services, not just the hand dyed fabric and the hand woven fabric, but other things that we don't have around here.
That's
true.
So I fight myself with that, you know.
I mean, it's something to think about for the future.
Yeah.
And getting on that YouTube video of how y'all do it, I think that would be fascinating.
Yeah, it would be.
Talk about a viral thing. I bet you if you guys did that
Yeah.
and put that on your Facebook page or whatever, that's like advertisement right there by itself. Just,
yeah.
hey, check out how we make our product.
Yeah.
I would totally tune into that because I'm fascinated by those
I love
things,
that sort of thing. Yeah.
You guys need to join the chatter group because I do lives on there.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
So cool.
Well, tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Sure. There's our website, www.luzhandwoven.com. On Facebook, Luz, Luz, Handwoven, Handwoven. On Instagram, the same tag. In our Facebook, we have a chatter group called Woven by Luz. You can click on the top. It'll take you to that group, and you can join us there.
Okay.
Perfect.
Very cool.
Well, I think we're almost out of time, and I think that's going to wrap us up for today. But we want to thank you so much for coming and telling your story to us. I very much enjoyed sitting here with you and
Thank you so
hearing
much
all
for
about your
having me.
business.
This is very informative. It was fun too.
Yeah. We thank everybody for listening, and we want to hear your story. So send us your business, and you can be a guest on our podcast and share your story with us. And you can contact us on our website at PaynePoints.com. All of our social media is linked there, and all of our older episodes of our podcast. So give us a listen. But yeah, everybody have a great day. Ladies, thanks for joining me.
Bye, guys.
Bye.